done my part. Will you?
If you came with me, I could. Mary.
I'll be with you, Kenway. I will.
This heartbreaking scene was a pivotal point for Edward and a grand conclusion to one of the best memory sequences in the AC franchise. This particular memory is titled To Suffer Without Dying. It is an apt description of what Edward, the main character, and us, the players, who are deeply immersed in the story, will feel during and after the events that will unfold. This memory begins with Edward enclosed and imprisoned in a gibbet, a cage that was used to hold prisoners and make them suffer. He has no means of really moving and doesn't even have the option to sit comfortably. He was stripped of all freedom, held in total domination. This situation is one of the lowest points in Edward's story as he finds himself helpless. He had no way to escape, no chance to even defend himself, not to mention the blooded waters he sailed to get here. You see, before he was a prisoner trapped suffering from inhumane conditions, he was chasing riches in a grand dream. He was looking for the observatory, a place he believes holds a treasure worth countless of gold. And as he sailed towards this dream, he witnessed the downfall of the man who once stood tall beside him. He watched Thatch, more famously known as Blackbeard, who wanted nothing but to live the pirate's life and retire somewhere with all his plunder, mercilessly taken down on a deck of a ship, robbing him of the peaceful life he wished upon himself. Edward watched as Charles Vane, one of the most feared and dangerous captains in the Caribbean, succumbed to madness and despair, every drop of sanity and reason drained by the thoughts of betrayal and failure. He saw how Hornigold, the most astute and toughest pirate, jumped over to the other side and became a hunter of those he once called brothers, leading Edward to bloody his blade and deliver him down among the dead. And now it seemed it was Edward's time, trapped in a cage and nowhere to go. But when all hope seems lost, Edward sees a shadow stalking in the bushes. In a blink of an eye, it disappeared, and like from a nightmarish tale, one of the soldiers was swallowed into the abyss. Knowing that that looming darkness is his way out, he rattles the cage to get the soldier's attention, giving the master assassin more than enough time to deal the killing blows. And with this, Edward was free, but the memory does not end here. Atabay informs Edward that he is there to save Mary Reed and Anne Bonny, two people who are also somewhat close to Edward, and so without hesitation he agrees to help the assassin and infiltrate the hellish prison. Edward begins by stalking in the bushes, looking for openings and ways to eliminate the soldiers patrolling the area. He uses stealth to ambush the unwary and utilizes slip darts to take down anyone who has the misfortune to lay eyes on him. Fueled by anger from the treatment of the soldiers, he would also rush through unsuspecting patrols with his blade, taking them out as if they were nothing, as if he was the devil reaping the souls of the damned. Eventually, Edward spots a cage where a dead pirate hangs. Upon closer inspection, he realizes that it was Jack Rackham.
You weren't much of a friend, Jack Rackham, nor an able sailor neither. But you were strange and lively, and you made me laugh more than once. And that's enough to make me sorry for seeing you like this. I hope you found a lasting peace, down there among the dead.
Stalking a couple soldiers, Edward also hears of Stede Bonnet's fate, another pirate who he considered a dear friend.
Or money, like Stede Bonnet from Barbados.
No, they hanged him too.
Did they?
Aye. Blubbering and bawling, he collapsed at the gallows, weeping like a little lamb.
Serves the bastard right.
Going deeper into the depths of the prison, Edward eventually makes it to the entrance of the dungeon, the place where prisoners are treated less than animals. As he enters the godforsaken place, Edward hears rumblings of mad men and the cries of tortured souls. From the get-go, he knew this was a place no pirate or any scoundrel wanted to be in, no matter how vile and villainous they thought themselves to be. And so he continued forth, taking down every enemy in his way. Eventually, in one of the darkest corners of the dungeon, he glimpsed at a familiar face, the now mad Captain Charles Vane, singing like a child lost in a never-ending sea.
Hello, Vane. I'd caught wind you'd been discovered and brought here. Didn't hear what happened after, though. Best of luck to you, mate. I wish we'd parted as friends.
Knowing that there was nothing he could do for him, Edward continued on in search of Mary Reed and Anne Bonny. He traversed the cold prison walls that reek of torment and disdain. Eventually, he finds them, 2 soldiers mocking and harassing them, treating them as if they were not human.
My friend's just had a child, and she's poorly now. Help! Somebody!
Shut your bleeding trap, or I'll fill it my own way.
Assassin! Bastards! Murderers! Road met the pair of you, standing over a dying lady like she was a piece of meat.
A dying pirate. There's your difference.
Aye. She dies from childbirth, all the better, eh? God carries out our sentence and our hands are clean.
Oh, you bastards! Somebody help!
Listening to the soldiers, it was clear. Pirates were indeed to be treated as such. Let them wither and die. And so without hesitation, Edward leaps into action, making the soldiers instantly regret their actions. With the soldiers down, Edward and Atabay free Mary and Anne. While Anne was capable of standing and walking while being supported, Mary was in a dire state. Her child was taken from her at birth, and now she is suffering from some kind of illness.
And her child?
They took her. No idea where. Oh! Oh! Oh!
I know it pains my lady, but we must be silent. Can you walk? Lean on me, Mary. Come on.
She could barely stand and move, but Edward knew they had to get out. He carries her on his shoulder, telling her that they can make it, that they have to make it.
You're all right.
Stop, please.
I ain't leaving you, damn it. Lift your arm.
It's no good.
There's no one here!
I ain't leaving you nowhere. No bloody way.
Put me down, Edward.
But inevitably, Mary asks Edward to put her down. She knew it was her time, and she accepted it.
Don't die on my account. Go.
This is such a pain in the ass. Damn it. You should have been the one to outlast me.
I've done my part. Will you?
If you came with me, I could. Mary.
I'll be with you, Kenway. I will.
She gave her last words to Edward, and for a brief moment he mourned her, perhaps remembering how she wanted him to join the assassins, of how she believed he could be a better man. But since the soldiers were still looking for them, Edward could only mourn for so long. He had to move. He carried Mary's lifeless body out of the prison and into the shore where boats were waiting for them. As they reached Atabay and Anne, the two saw what had become of Mary. Anne lets out a painful cry as Atabay mourns in silence.
Oh, God! Oh!
What will you do now?
Nothing sensible.
Edward, now a broken man filled with regret and longing, receives Atabay's blessing to don the assassin's robes. Perhaps it was pity for the mourning pirate, or an act to honor Mary's wishes, since she, from the very beginning, believed that Edward could be something more than another pirate. And so the memory ends with Atabay living with Anne and Mary's body, as Edward goes on to do something nonsensible. While this memory was indeed heartbreaking and filled with regret and pain, it was an important moment for Edward's growth. It was the last straw, you see. The last that he wanted to see from the countless bodies that he witnessed falling, burning, and drowning. To him, Mary was the best of them. And as she will always be with him, he knew he needed to change his course, to look further over the horizon and fight for something bigger than himself.